Today on Locked On Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal both back on Tuesday. Could it be true? Much to be thankful for this week here in the Valley. What it means for the team as a big week descends on the Phoenix Suns, all coming up next.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back into Locked On Suns. I'm Brendon, Kleen, a staff writer at Awful Announcing and a credentialed Suns media member. Thank you for making Locked On Suns your first listen to kick off your week. Happy Monday. Don't forget Locked On Suns is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So click that follow or subscribe button and do what thousands of other Suns fans have already done. Become an everydayer and get locked on to the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. Today's episode, folks, is brought to you by Gametime, the best place to buy any ticket. Download the Gametime app, create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA when you do to get $20 off your first purchase. Joining me, as always, from the Wild West Valley, my fellow Suns credentialed media member. How are we feeling on this Monday, Ben Garcia?
I want to start off by asking you just a quick question, general question. Also, I had no idea Thanksgiving was this Thursday. That holiday always creeps up on me every single year. Brendon,
it's in November. That's almost over. So that's, it's late this year.
Brendon, this is more important what I'm about to ask you. Let's say I love something so much, or someone so much, or something so much, but it only brings me pain. Should I love that thing anymore? Should I?
If you're talking about Cardinals football, you're like
I'm talking
25 years late.
You
should have never fallen in love with it. I mean, that's what's funny to me every Sunday. Like, I knew where you were going to go because, of course, it is a Sunday we're recording this.
It's
not.
And
I just watch people melt down, and I'm like, I don't know why you guys ever even allowed yourself to get so connected to this thing. I just skipped over that. I'll take it if it comes. If we get some good games like we have this season, I'll enjoy it along the way. I've been to tons of games in my life. I've been very lucky. Cardinals have brought me some joy, but I don't let them bring me down.
Okay, so I was meaning just sports in general, just coming off of the Cardinals game, though, because the Suns, we started off, 7-1. Then we had a lot of injuries. The vibes were high. Kevin Durant gets injured. Bradley Beal gets injured. Everything I love turns to crap is the point. Anyways, so you didn't answer my question.
Love the Suns. I couldn't tell you not to love the Suns, but pick and choose your battles, I guess. And the Cardinals are not a battle worth choosing, is my opinion. But this week, I think that the Suns will be even more lovable, and we will move on from the dark days of November here because both Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal were full participants in scrimmage at practice on Sunday. Head coach Mike Budenholzer said that they both looked great, quote, did everything in practice, quite a bit of scrimmaging. Those two guys are great players. It's great to have them out there playing and competing. They brought an energy. They brought a pop. It was really good. And he said that he will sleep soundly on Sunday night. And look, they have an entire additional day on Monday before we even have to talk about whether they'll be active for that Lakers game. So it's not even, will they be ready tomorrow? We have 24 more hours for these dudes to rest up, Ben. And I mean, obviously good news. We don't need to debate or discuss whether it's good news or not. Durant has been out since November 10th. Brad has been out since November 13th. Right in time, though. We're going to talk about this later in the show as far as how big of a week this is. But that cushion we talked about is all but evaporated. We're talking about NBA Cup games, Western Conference standings, trade season starting in the not-too-distant future. Get it out of the way, flush it, but this is when the Suns need to buckle down, I think, Ben.
You know, it's so funny. You brought up the only thing I don't care about at this point, which is the NBA Cup. It sounds like from what I read as well yesterday from Budenholzer coming out and saying that they had no restrictions, basically. It sounds like that they could have played last week, but they just decided, like what you had seen from the schedule earlier, which was, all right, they're going to have a week off. We might as well just not let them play these next two games against the Magic and against the Knicks. So I see that as really good news that it sounds like neither calf injury was that bad at all. Like it must have been minor to the minor-ith degree, even with Kevin Durant. Because if they're already scrimmaging the entire time, like I feel like that means very positive things that hopefully it won't linger down the road.
Which is sort of what we had heard originally with KD, right? That it wasn't an emergency situation. Well, but now you're saying you don't think it was anything. So I was picking up where you left off, which is that I think this was more management of an injury than, holy crap, this dude, his calf's hanging on by a thread or something, right? And I think the injury at the Olympics probably contributed to the hesitancy and everything else. And I think this is kind of where what I had been chewing on as we were waiting down the days for Durant to be back is, and Beal eventually when that joined in, we talked through a couple different shows of like, you know, what can we learn? How much should they slow play this? They're relying too much on Durant. How do they avoid this being a repeat of 2023 or even the season before that? I honestly think this was them trying to get out in front of it and be cautious. Like it was happening before our eyes, the carefulness that we were kind of hoping for. And I want to believe that this period, even though it sucked and the games were not fun to watch and the team looked hapless a lot of the time, this was the more deliberate approach to the injuries that maybe they just needed. And hopefully now we'll get a week, 2, 3, 4 without having to think about any of this.
Yeah, I just wonder, I guess if Kevin Durant tweaks his calf again to the same degree that he just did before, I wonder if they'll be as cautious. I wonder if they learned from last year that, hey, we just got to get everyone back. And when everyone gets back, we're going to be awesome. Or if they're saying, hey, early in the season, we're going to nurse this. But if this happens again in December, January, we're not going to take 2 to 3 weeks off, 7 games off. I wonder how cautious they're going to be in the future, because at some point you got to play. So that's where I'm at with it. But I do feel better that it seems like it's not much if they're already scrimmaging the entire time, I was really surprised to hear, honestly. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, not much of a ramp up. But I mean, won't it tell us the answer to what you just put out, how many minutes they play, especially Durant? Like, that will be, like, maybe I'm right that this was, and what you said, that this was maybe, they saw the future with this big week off and they just said, hey, let's not push it, and we're 9-2 or whatever, no big deal. Maybe that's all true, but I also think they do still need to cut back on Durant's minutes, because otherwise, if anything comes up along the way the rest of the season, all fans and media and people like us are just going to be sitting there going, I told you so once again, because it's just not sustainable.
Minutes and usage for Kevin Durant. Yeah. You know, I would ask you, we've already talked down the road what his minutes should look like or what his usage should look like, but what do you think do you think it'll be full go on Tuesday against the Lakers? It sounds like they're both going to play. Do you think Beal will be full go? Because he got injured November 13th. That was 11 days ago. Oh my gosh. It was only 11 days ago. It feels like forever. Feels like he's been gone for forever.
I feel like it's not as in vogue for teams to do the whole minutes restriction, bringing people back slowly thing. Maybe just because there's so many injuries in the NBA these days, I feel like teams are less inclined to say, hey, you're going to play 20 minutes. It's like, once a coaching staff gets the green light from the medical team, it's like you're playing. And playing means you're playing what you do for us, full go, the most that you possibly can. I also think Durant just manages that is the one thing with his minutes where, like, he manages his effort and physicality and energy throughout a game. I'm less worried about him, but yeah, Beal's probably the question mark. What do you think? I mean,
I worry about Bradley. Oh, I worry about Bradley Beal coming back because I'm assuming his calf. I don't even know if it was a calf injury at this point. I think they just called it a calf, but maybe just a lower leg strain in some part of his body that they didn't want to be specific about. I don't know, man. I don't know about Beal because Kevin Durant, I do think, is more durable than everyone else thinks. But man, we've had an elbow, we've had a calf. We've had last year a back injury. Like, I'm just waiting for the guy to stub his toe and be out 3 more games. I have no idea how you manage this guy when you bring him back. Do you bring him back?
You can.
Well, do you do what I said and maybe pull him out of the starting lineup, but not because he's not good enough, but because you're just kind of feeling out what maybe he should do, or is the guy just going to get hurt? Like, is he just going to get hurt and just run him into the ground and just hopefully cross your fingers that he stays healthy? The Kevin Durant one, I think, is very easy. Just play him. I think he's a very durable player. The Bradley Beal one, man, I don't know. The guy hurt his elbow, and it's not like he tore a ligament, or at least that was reported. He just bumped his elbow weird. It's very similar to the Chris Paul thing that we had years ago, where Chris Paul would have the weirdest injuries. It was in the playoffs against the Lakers where he couldn't feel his shoulder for 2 days. Yeah. And he said he couldn't even dribble he didn't know if he was dribbling the ball. He was just surprised when it came back. And, Bradley Beal's the same way, man. I don't know how you deal with it. That is a question for the coaching staff. I don't know, man. I think
you can be cautious to a point, and not overdo it with minutes and things like that.
But they need him to play hard.
I think that. Well, I'm not talking about not playing hard or whatever, but I just mean
like
maybe like I don't think you have to move him to the bench to limit his minutes, which is why I think we had a disagreement. If you want to play him 28 minutes a game, he can still start. That doesn't have to be off the bench, but maybe it's something along those lines of more of a management there. And Bud's done that with players in the past, but I think it's just inevitable that, if you told me Bradley Beal didn't miss a single game the rest of the season, I mean, I'm putting that at like plus 3,000. I mean, I don't even know if that's high enough. That's just not what it is at this point for this guy, and they're just going to have to live with that. But Durant, I think, is clearly the guy you want to try to keep intact, and I think there are ways with the lower body stuff that he tends to deal with to try to do that. All right, let's talk about Kevin Durant in a different lens and rewind ourselves a little bit back to the summer. Tie a knot around this absurd fantasy that the Houston Rockets had, that one particular reporter at ESPN had about KD's availability and the ability to maybe trade for him, and how it's already been completely disproven. We'll get there next. First, today's show brought to you by Skims. Look, guys, there are tons of undergarments, underwear, undershirts out there that we all know are scratchy. Maybe they wear out really, really fast. A couple washes and they're all of a sudden not fitting you the same way, or they're just pilling, or any of these things that we all absolutely hate to deal with. But Skims, none of those things are true. They're soft as all get out, first and foremost. They come in a bunch of different styles and sizes, so that you can get something you're going to like. The quality is A+++, so when you are washing it or you are wearing it, you're not paranoid that you're going to be done with it in 6 months. And look, you look pretty good in them too. I mean, check out, I know, Ben was questioning the Donovan Mitchell, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander photo shoot, but the dudes were looking nice and they were feeling themselves. That's what you can do if you want to check out Skims men's as well. They have all sorts of things.
I was going to say, you see some of the Twitter reactions to that? It's pretty funny. NBA Twitter.
There's some comparison and contrasting that goes on. That's natural for everybody. But I mean that, in terms of what you're working with, all you care about is the comfort. Who cares what anyone else? I'm not looking at anybody. I'm just feeling good. Go to skims.com/LockedOnNBA. Check it out. Let them know we sent you with that promo code. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey drop down and select our show in that drop down that follows. Again, skims.com/LockedOnNBA if you're looking for the perfect gifts for the whole family. Skims also just launched their biggest holiday shop ever, also available at skims.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, let's keep it rolling. So, if you remember back to July, might have even been June, the Suns, of course, got swept and everybody was down on their luck and everything else. Adrian Wojnarowski, who no longer works at ESPN, but you don't need me to remind you who that is, put out a series of reports about how the Rockets have some draft pick relationships with the Nets. They ended up making a trade with the Nets, and now they have the Suns picks as well. And wouldn't it be nice if we could parlay all of that into getting our hands on, honestly, Ben, if you remember, not even just Kevin Durant, but there was a moment in time where it also included Devin Booker, which was absolutely insane. And Mark Stein reported today that, quote, The Rockets' interest in Durant has been overstated from the jump. Who do you think overstated it? Where could that possibly have come from?
This is the problem with when people read too much into agents' reports. I think the only one that doesn't do this as much is Shams Charania, but even the guy, Chris Haynes, did this all the time too. They posture what to make it look like a team is going to go after Kevin Durant or whatever, or it could seriously be any athlete any NBA player. But I mean, this is what Woj does, man. He's gotten a lot of stuff wrong. He's also gotten a lot of stuff right. And oftentimes it's just him posturing to scratch one client's back. It never made
This wasn't an agent, though. This was just a team bald-faced making stuff up that they would have liked to do. I mean, an agent, yes, I understand that. Oh, so-and-so player is expecting a $20+ million contract, and we all look at that and we go, no, they're not going to get $20+ million, but I'm glad they're hoping for that, and I'm glad that you putting that out there, Woj or Shams or whoever the case might be, you're going to get the scoop of that deal when it does come to pass because you put out there that they were going to get all this money. Okay, that doesn't really bother me because it is just sort of business as usual. This was like if I just logged on today and I just, before we hit record, kept telling you, like, I want a Cybertruck or I want a big mansion up in Paradise Valley. And you just be like, Brendon, like, okay, but that, like, dude, you work at Awful Announcing. Like, I'm sorry, man, that's not going to happen. And I just kept saying it to you. You'd be like, okay, can we record the podcast? Like, this is getting awkward. That's what that was. And it was just so blatant. It was, I've never, like, gone in on a reporter the way that I did after that show, but it was like, so the Rockets want to have Kevin Durant. Welcome to the party. 29 other teams would like Kevin Durant. It's not happening.
Well, it's just crazy. It never made any sense either. When there was teams, even myself, because I was doing a 4-hour radio show in the middle of the summer, and you have to fill time, even if it's topics that some people don't like, and some of those were Kevin Durant trades. It never made sense for the Rockets. They never really had the players or pieces, and draft capital doesn't really help the Suns because it was mostly the Rockets draft picks. None of it made sense. Even if the Rockets, like, say they did that trade and they give up multiple players that they give back to the Suns, how much better are they? Like, I know they're better, but there's still 4 or 5 other teams that, like, he's much better suited to be on the Suns. Also, Kevin Durant has to want that location. Even if, like, the Suns wanted to trade Kevin Durant now, and I'm not saying they should, I'm not even entertaining that idea.
No.
I'm just saying Kevin Durant has to approve of it. He will give them a list of teams if it ever came there, and we've seen that before with Brooklyn, or not necessarily. There was a rumor out there that he might want to go to the Heat, but it was mostly just the Suns. Like, superstars control where they want to go. Anthony Davis did it. Kevin Durant did it.
Yeah.
You don't Dame Lillard to
especially,
a sense,
I mean,
got out of there.
You know, not to get too far down the rabbit hole, but KD is also headed toward free agency in the not too distant future, as we kind of talked about on Friday's show. And it's not like it's happening soon, but you don't want to have KD for 2 years. You'd like to have him for the rest of his career. I mean, here's the thing though. Here's why it bothered me so much is that it contribute, and I'm not gonna just, I'm fast forwarding to now and why this matters so people understand that we're not just revisiting a stupid story from June that was fake, but it contributes to the idea that the sky is falling in Phoenix and that Kevin Durant is a player who could be available, right? That was not true. There was no reason to believe that that was true. This situation with Woj in Houston was the only tangible thing that ever came out across the whole entire summer of a specific team being linked to a specific trade for this player. And when you throw stuff out, it's like the type of thing that makes me totally understand why KD can be so grumpy online sometimes, or grumpy in interviews, because he's just become this Mad Lib, this plug and play talking point now, where anytime something happens to his team or another team wants a star player, oh, let's just talk about Kevin Durant being that guy. And it creates negativity that, again, to reiterate, is absolutely fabricated.
Yeah, I mean, it is fabricated, but some of that does fall on Kevin Durant. Like, when I heard the reporting that Kevin Durant, the Rockets want to go there, whatever, there was a part of me that's like, I don't know, Kevin Durant is a career wanderer. He left Oklahoma City for Golden State.
He's asked for one trade, ever.
No, yeah, but he's left. The point is he's a wanderer. He's left Westbrook. He left Curry. He went to Phoenix. Like, I'm not saying he asked for a bunch of trades. That's not him. But like he is one of the few superstars, and I use the term superstar, not star, who's been to multiple different places. So people just instantly believe it. He also is kind of chronically online. Whereas like when Stephen A. Smith went bullface lied on whatever show he has in the morning, and he said Devin Booker wants to be in New York, everyone was like, okay, buddy. No one believes that, because Devin Booker, when it was the worst of times in Phoenix, never asked for a trade, and now he wants to go to New York. Yeah, no one believes that nonsense. So I'm not saying that it's deserved, but he has brought a little bit of it on himself because he has went to a bunch of different places, and it makes it easier to believe. Although I agree with you, he has only asked for one trade. That's the only thing I would add.
That's the thing. Yeah, I think it makes it easier to believe, which is why people say it. But
yeah, exactly.
You say he's one of the only stars who's done that. Well, he's the only one who gets talked about. LeBron James has been on several teams. Nobody's talking. I mean, I know there was the Warriors thing, but that actually felt kind of real, and the reporting was pretty detailed. In this case, it's a lot of people who just will basically, oh crap, we got 3 hours to fill. We have 2 hours and 45 minutes of content for the day. Can we cook up a KD segment? Is there something in there that we can do? You know what I mean? Like, that's the part of it that I 100% do side with him on. And this was just like the example of all examples to prove his frustration with all of that. Fully right. This made no sense. And the point you made a minute ago is the best one, which is that he's of a caliber similar to a LeBron, which I think is why people would never bring it up with LeBron, that he would have to want to go wherever he was going to go. And there was not even an effort made to indicate that Durant would want to go to the Rockets. But yet it was treated as like, this could happen, guys. Watch out. The offers are pouring in. It's like, well, when he asked out of Brooklyn, a whole news cycle was built around how it only was going to be the Suns. That's why he went back to Brooklyn for a period of time. And then now we just forget about it. It really drives me crazy, because it's like, it's bad for the league too. I mean, we don't have to get into that rabbit hole, but it's stupid to me.
It is. I would agree with you. That is bad for the league. And you kind of see that. I meant to send this to you earlier in the week, but some of the ratings continue to fall a little bit for the NBA to start the season. And it was like, what do you think the reasoning for it is? And I think part of it is superstars or stars are involved in a lot of trades, and they have a lot of control in this league, and people don't really like that they make $50-60 million a year and have all the say. It's like they're not really giving up anything, and that turns some people off, and I get that. Not me, but it does turn some people off. So I do feel bad for KD. He does get his name dragged through the mud a lot, and it's not fair. But he is the only superstar where it is kind of believable. Outside of, I guess, LeBron does move around, but no one's trading LeBron. LeBron trades himself.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say the same's kind of, yeah, right? Exactly. Dame kind of trades himself, and Dame's like the 30th best player in the NBA. Like that's just what it is. So it's just goofy to go through these rabbit holes.
Well, it's funny because Dame trades himself, but no one even respected where he wanted to go, and they shipped his ass right to Milwaukee. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I guess.
Imagine saying you wanted to go to Miami and you ended up in Milwaukee.
Yeah, not going great for those guys. Either
Wisconsin.
team, really. Miami's struggling. Gross. Portland, too. So that was a lose, it feels like, over there. But a win for the Suns, getting KD and keeping him. Let's talk about the week that will be in the Valley. And I'll actually stretch it into next week. 4 big home games upcoming. Some high-level opponents. Some must-win games against bad teams. We'll give our thoughts on this 4-game stretch next. First, today's show is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook. Get ready to tackle the NFL action this season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Let's check it out. I think that I said Penn State by a mile, and keep pounding the huge favorite there, and they made things interesting. So maybe you were cursing me if you were in that world. Let's see. What are we looking at here? Week 13.
What are the Cardinals
lines.
at? What are the Cardinals at next week? I'm going to that game. I'll be there.
They are plus 176. They're 3.5-point underdogs. That's fair. Vikings aren't any kind of terrifying opponent.
Well, it's Sam Dizzy Darnold. My guy, Sam Dizzy Darnold.
Minus 900 for, who am I looking at here? The Chiefs at home against the Raiders. Put a little money there. Get 150 in bonus bets from FanDuel if you win that bet. All at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Today's show also brought to you by the Gametime app, the best place to buy any ticket, whether that is a sporting event like Ben heading out to Minneapolis to watch.
I use Gametime to buy these. I got a really good price. A really good price on Gametime.
And you use code Locked On NBA
before I worked here, so no.
Oh, really?
I will use it.
Well, right now I'm looking at the Gametime picks for Phoenix over the next few days. Monday Night Raw is in Glendale on Monday. $21 to get in the building. I mean, if you're a WWE fan, $20 to watch it is pretty darn good. There's really not a bad seat in that whole venue because it's for hockey, so everything's pointed downward. You can also get into Nets Suns on Wednesday for $20, Spurs Suns the following Tuesday for $16. Great deals all through those Gametime picks, which are the best value right up front, right at the top of your app or the webpage at Gametime, giving you the best deals right there. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA when you do to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. All right, Ben, let's wrap up the show. Quickly looking at the upcoming week of Suns basketball. Reminder for everybody to sign up for the Locked On Suns daily newsletter. Click the link in the show description below or go to LockedOnDaily.com. Click that Suns logo when you get there. Type your email address in. It's totally free. You get great Suns and NBA analysis. You keep up with the show. And best of all, you support the show just by signing up. Okay. I look at this Warriors game, Ben, and I hate to skip too far ahead. I don't know if you have thoughts on Lakers or Nets, but it's going to be an abbreviated week for us on the show. People are going to get distracted. Don't overlook that game. The Warriors are on an incredible start. Every time they play the Suns, it's emotionally heated. It is close games. Curry game winner over Grayson Allen and Bradley Beal. I don't need to remind anybody of around this time last year. That one's big, but I guess I bring it up first because you got to feel good about yourself heading into that game. So I almost look at all of these three that are actually this week, and I kind of think the Suns should want to win all three. Beat the Lakers to get back on track. Beat the Nets because you got to beat the Nets. And feel good heading into that Warriors game and give yourself that psychological boost to really ramp up into that huge game over the weekend.
Well, the Suns should be favored in all three of these games. I haven't seen the line yet for the Lakers, but I'm assuming if everyone plays and there's no minute restrictions, they should be favored in all three of these games. That 8 o'clock game will be the death of me on Tuesday night, so we will be there until Wednesday morning. I do like them in that game, a little bit of a revenge spot from that second game of the season where they did lose. And this is going to be the third time that they played the Lakers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very front-loaded, for sure.
We're just going to play them all in the first half of the season. The only thing I worry about again is the Suns team is really small, and it can be really small, and that Lakers team at times can get really ginormous, especially with Hachimura and Anthony Davis and LeBron James all on the court. So that kind of worries me a bit. Dalton Connect is starting to heat up a little bit. That Ryan Dunn, Dalton Connect thing, that argument's a real thing. The Nets game, I don't worry about, man. That's a game that you need to take care of business. That should not be a close game. You need to show everyone.
But Cam Thomas cooked him last year, and
yeah,
there's some of those games that this team has overlooked in the past.
Yeah, but you can't do that this time. You just had a 6-game stretch where you overlooked multiple teams, and it looked bad.
Agreed.
You got to win that. And then if you really want to flip this season on its head and just where it's at right now, everyone's kind of down, beat the Warriors. And I think that they are more than capable of beating the Warriors, especially with that game being at home. This is not at Chase Center. And you'll have 2 games under your belt to get everyone back and acclimated. There's no reason they shouldn't beat that game. And it'd be interesting to see guys like Ryan Dunn up against Steph Curry. What about you?
Yeah, it will be. And that Warriors team has kind of quickly turned pretty young and athletic, and I think that was, and now they don't even have Chris Paul, who was kind of like an exception to that last year, but they have, Jackson Davis, Kuminga, obviously Wiggins isn't exactly young anymore, but a rangy wing you have to worry about, and all these guys that they've signed, I guess Kyle Anderson, not so much, but Moses Moody, Podziemski, like they're this team that, yeah, you really got to kind of like physically match, whereas before it was, okay, the offensive onslaught is coming. They're going to, come out in these third quarters, blah, blah, blah. It's a whole different ball game now. So I actually think the Suns, might not be a great matchup for them because they're not a lot of those things that I just said, and they have more traditional veteran older players that are not quite in that way. But yeah, I think that they've already proven they can and should beat the Lakers. Nets, I agree. Take care of business there. And then I guess to round off, it's the Spurs after that, and that's the little 4-game homestand that we're looking at, although it's really a 6-game because they played the Magic and the Knicks already. And, I mean, I'm not super worried about the NBA Cup either, Ben, but it could actually work out in their favor. I mean, we're talking about a game in the Lakers that they shouldn't and could win, and then the Spurs, and then they'll be 3-1, and kind of putting themselves in a decent spot. So we'll see. But that Spurs game, another one you just have to take care of business. And they're 9-7 right now. Even if they go 3-1, you're feeling at 12-8 pretty good about yourself, I think.
So now I just kind of want to focus really quickly on the stupid NBA Cup. If you beat the Spurs and you beat the Lakers, that will put you at 3-1. I'm assuming the Lakers would have the point differential, probably still have the point differential as well. So it still is going to be an uphill battle because Oklahoma City, you just assume is going to get in.
So let's go through the standings right now. Lakers are 2-0 in the Cup with the plus 11 point differential. The Thunder are 1-1 with a plus 10 point differential, and then the Spurs and Suns are also 1-1 and whatever. So it's basically this thing where the top team is a lock, and then I think that there's one wild card from the rest of the conference, and 4 teams go. And so if you don't win your group, then the point differential becomes even more important because then it's your point differential against everybody else in the whole conference and everything else. I'm not super pressed about it either. I'm just saying that there's a chance, and I think that it actually kind of set up for them nicely because they were probably going to lose to the Thunder no matter what. They got that out of the way without their players healthy, and now they can get back to business and try to take care of things. But I think 4-0's in reach here. Yeah,
they got to shorten up this group play, though. They should have just done this in 2 weeks because this is going way too long. This is like 3 weeks now that we're going into group play. They got to take a page out of
I think it's like 4 weeks overall.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well,
it's a little too long. I agree.
I just want to win games and then just let me know at the end how it all shakes out and potentially lose in the semifinal because I do not want to play an extra game. I don't. And if we do make the finals, I hope Budenholzer gives a full double bird to Adam Silver and just sits KD and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal and just throws out Josh Okogie and Mason Plumlee in the Cup Finals.
So you've said that a couple times. I will definitely be throwing that back in your face after we're covering the NBA Cup Final in like a month, and you love it. And we log on afterward, and you're psyched because Booker scored 42 and hit a game winner. And the NBA Cup's so cool. This is fun as hell. Vegas was awesome.
If the Suns win the NBA Cup, I'll bring like little things that like pop off.
Okay,
we'll just celebrate. I'll put a banner up in here. Cup champs.
I'm sure Lakers fans felt pretty good last year, is all I'll say. It's fun. It is fun. All right, that'll wrap us up. It is fun. Hit follow or subscribe. No. If you haven't already, become an everydayer. We will be here for you one more time before all these games begin. Recap on Tuesday and much more throughout the week. Enjoy the holidays right along with us. We'll talk to you tomorrow.